Welcome back to the Reseller Journey podcast. And in this episode, we got my brother Chris with Flip the World. Appreciate you coming on, my brother. This is going to be a
Always.
fun one because I have to say, you're one of the reasons why I'm even doing Whatnot. And I wanted to pick your brain, kind of where you're at in your business, what your goals are for this year, and maybe for people that are watching on the other side to help them, make that jump, make that leap into getting into live selling. So, welcome to the party. Appreciate you. Where are you at in your business right now? I want to know, kind of maybe some goals that you're trying to hit this year when it comes to live selling.
For sure. Well, first of all, thanks for having me back. It's a blast. I love talking about not only just reselling, but I love talking about Whatnot exclusively. I know there's a lot of people that resell that do multiple platforms, and I've always kind of been I've never cross-listed. I've always been, when I sold on eBay, I was 100% eBay, and when I got rid of eBay, and I'm 100% Whatnot. So I like being the all-in guy. For our business this year, we picked just based off of last year. I think we came in right around 265,000 on Whatnot. Once the dust settled. So this year we anticipate. I'm going with like a 10%. I'd like to do 10% more. I think that's feasible. And then of course I threw in like 2 to 3% for inflation. So 13% increase. So right around 300K, which, breaking it down, which is what I like to do. I take the big number and then I break it down into months. I break it down into weeks. I break it down into days. And then I also break it down into how many shows I want to do. We are well ahead of our goal already. So I think what's today? I don't even know what day it is, honestly. 13th, 14th.
Yeah,
Today's the
yeah.
14th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're already over 14,000
Mm-hmm.
gross. So we're averaging over $1,000 days when we stream, and we're not streaming every day. So we're doing really well on our goal. And again, that's 100% just Whatnot. So the thrifts are good in January and February. Most people are donating. A bunch of businesses, retail stores had to donate. They donated a lot of their clearance items, a lot of new tag stuff because they wanted that big tax write-off at the end of the year. So we're seeing a lot of good product coming in. This is like our Q4 for thrifting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that. Yeah. And so for people that, I'll put his info down below, but you share a lot on your stories, which motivates me as well. I think we should all set lofty goals. And it's really cool to see that, it is possible to turn this into a full-time gig. You made that transition from eBay to Whatnot a couple of years ago now. And it's really cool to see the growth. And as more and more people like become aware of live selling, I think it's only up from here. Um, so you're on track to do over 300,000. And what does your like typical schedule look like? You're not streaming every day. You're not doing multiple streams a day, but like, what does that look like in a typical week? How many
Yeah. So
streams to get that?
So typically we're looking at four dedicated streams from the bins, and then we always have a fifth day option. It's really not a necessity. It's more of if we don't have anything planned. Right now we're in between fall baseball and spring baseball with our kids. But that starts up in February. So February, we're going to start back in doing baseball. I'm going to be assisting as a coach this year. So that usually means that Saturdays are now off the table as far as shows, unless we do a night show. So realistically, we have a solid 4-day work week.
Yeah, I love that. So, do you think that you are working? I mean, it's probably been a while now, but when you were doing eBay full time, are you working just about the same amount of hours versus what you're doing now? Because you
Um,
were doing it full time as well a couple years back.
so eBay was it's probably the same amount of time, but it doesn't feel like the same amount of work, if that makes any sense. eBay always seemed like a grueling process, and that's mainly just because there's parts of eBay that I don't enjoy. I didn't like taking photos. I don't like listing. I don't like filling in all the little drop downs.
Yeah.
So the time might be the same, but it felt worse.
Yeah, 100%. And it's not for everybody, but I do think that just recently, a couple of days ago, Whatnot themselves got like a $5 billion valuation.
Yeah.
um and you see it more and more being talked about. Do you think, like, overall, like from your point of view, what do you think is going on in the resale world? Like, things are changing and they're changing pretty quick. I know once eBay really starts to go all in on their live selling, do you think that we are kind of like in that paradigm shift? I love that word, by the way, but do you
Yeah.
think we're like on the verge of something like drastically happening where happen where people can have an opportunity to make more money as a reseller?
Oh, 100%. I think, and I've said this a lot over the last few years, and I get pros and con people coming after me for it, but I think that anybody that's complaining about not having money in the last, I'll say 5 years, with the advancement of just the different things you can make money on your phone, it's not a matter of can't make money. It's just not willing to put in work to make money because it's so easy now to just use your smartphone and make money. Not even if it's reselling. There's platforms where you can get paid just to make, clips, and there's just so much availability for money just at your fingertips. But I think with the live selling aspect, it's a no brainer. I mean, um, I think it's been officially announced, but it's not been announced largely. But like brands are going to start live selling. Nike is officially signed up to sell on Whatnot, and I don't think people really can grasp what that means. I mean,
Mhm.
think of businesses that are gone now. Bed Bath and Beyond, they closed down all their brick and mortar stores. Toys R Us closed down their brick and mortar stores. They didn't go away, they just no longer wanted to pay the lease or the real estate. Why would they when they could just have their factory and just put an employee in front of a camera and sell it directly? Why would Nike need outlet stores when they can just have a warehouse and just have employees streaming 24/7 selling this discounted items or the last season items? So
Right.
um, I think we're in the beginning phases of it. I think I'm not smart enough to understand crypto, but I think we're at the beginning of live selling, kind of like the beginning of when crypto started and the people
The
that got in early with Bitcoin and are now billionaires. I think people that get in now, which is why I always tell people like, hey, sign up to get approved to sell, even if you're nowhere ready or want to sell, just at least have it already approved because I'm sure the restrictions are going to get harder. And I still think we're ground floor. I mean, this is 5 6 years, 5 years,
Mhm. Yeah.
$5 billion evaluation in 5 years. I mean, obviously something's good.
All right, this Saturday at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we're going to be running a ton of Lululemon jackets. We got scubas, we got rain jackets in here, we got a bunch of Define jackets. All are like basically brand new. Variety of sizes, men's and women's. We also have some brand new with tags, Lululemon we're going to run, and then also a wide variety of leggings, up to size like 20, I believe. So come and get a steal. We're going to run about 100 to 200 pieces on Saturday, 11 a.m. Pacific time. I'll put a link down below. You can bookmark the show and come and join the party. I would say they're like one of the more leaders in the whole platform. I mean, there's a couple other live selling. You could do District, you could do Jamble, or there's some other ones that are like kind of trying to copy, whatnot's doing. But do believe the same thing, and what makes more sense for me is it's Whatnot gives you the ability to build your personal brand.
Yes.
With eBay, you can build a store and everything, but I feel like with Whatnot, you have more direct to your community, direct relationship building with the people that get to know, like, and trust you, because that's who
Correct.
people when people do business with you, they want to do it with people who they know, like, and trust. And when you do a live show, it's more than just showing the stuff and back and forth. You're actually communicating with the people, building a relationship, which I think that's so much more valuable than just selling stuff. With eBay, it's kind of a little bit more in between. You don't get to know the person, and
Yeah.
it's obviously your profit margin's different. But with Whatnot, it's cool because you get to turn yourself into the brand. You are the brand. People want to do business with you because they like you and they trust you. So, um, and just seeing like from your stages as you grew, you've now built a community of, almost 20,000. I think you hit 20K or close to 20K
Very
in a
close.
couple years. I mean, those are people that are Flip the World Army fans, and I don't think on eBay it just doesn't resonate as much. Yeah, people could follow your store, but they don't know who Chris is. Your
Correct. Yeah.
funny jokes, your personality. And people buy into that and they want to support you, whether through whatever you sell, or maybe they're resellers themselves and they know they could get a good deal. So that's what I really enjoy about it. Like, I did not know that the power that it had, but you do need to focus on building your brand. Like, who are you? What is
100%.
it that you sell?
I think that I think it's it's the original bartering or selling. So
Mhm.
I try to use an example like I own a McDonald's and you own a McDonald's. We're both franchisees, but for some reason the carbonation at your McDonald's is much better and the fries are always crispy. My carbonation's not as good. My fries are sometimes stale. It's the same business, but people seem to like yours better. It's just they got to know the location. You know which gas stations you like, which gas stations you
Mhm.
don't like, and there's a reason for it. It's not because it's convenient or close. Sometimes you might drive further to go to a place that you like because you like how they treat you when you're there, or they remember your order every time you walk in. They know, same as last time.
Right.
Personal touch goes a long way. I think people like the fact that they get recognized for for being a customer. Like when you go to when you go to the mall and buy something, the cashier doesn't care that you just spent $100 because it's not their product. They
Mhm.
didn't put any effort into it. They just clocked in and I push buttons and this isn't my stuff. But when you're the one that's finding the inventory or selling the inventory or doing the shipping and doing the work and putting in the labor of love, and then someone buys it and you're just like, hey, thank you so much for supporting my business. Like they feel it. It's a very personal thing, and that's why I think live selling and whatnot in general is doing so well, because people get to see where their money's going in a world now where you have no idea where your money goes.
People also wanna do business with people, not big
Yes,
brands. They don't
for
wanna
sure.
do, I mean, do because that's the current paradigm, like, that's the current traditional method, but how about, like, actually doing business with the person that's either in charge of the business or directly related to some part of the business? It just feels better because you're supporting that person,
Mhm.
whether you have social media or whatever, but it just feels better from a consumer point of view, that you're actually like helping this person. They're running the business. You see them
100%.
working. So I think a lot of things are about to get disrupted. Things that we didn't even predict a couple years ago. I'm completely off eBay now, doing full time whatnot.
Awesome.
It's changed our
Congratulations.
lives. It's changed our lives in not only personally, but my family's lives. We're now able to afford medical bills that we wouldn't have able to afford. So things are just, still wrapping my mind around it because we've only been doing it for 6 months. Um, but yeah, it's just really cool to see people building businesses together like yourself, Renzi, Daily Refinement, all the other people, eBay Princess, people that are like doing pretty crazy numbers.
Yeah.
Um, like that Black Friday when there was no fees.
Yeah.
People took advantage of that and they did great. So just crazy stuff like that. So now let's kind of give your advice on people, because I've had people contact me, oh, I want to do whatnot. I don't know where to start. What would be like a good maybe pointer for people that are like, I'm ready to do whatnot, but I don't know how? What's a
So my
good tip?
my main thing when people come into our shows and I always ask in my show notes on whatnot, you'll see I always say, ask questions. The people in here are sellers. And we're all here to help each other improve. And my main thing is, first of all, just start. Just start. Everybody's like, oh, I'm not camera ready, or oh, I'm not, just do it. What they don't realize is you're just looking at yourself. I
Hmm.
think people think, oh, well, when I go live, there's going to be all these. it's not like a Zoom call. There's not 15 people staring at you. You're literally looking at yourself, and then you're just reading words. So I try to get people to just get off the mindset of, oh, I'm on camera. It's like, I'm just filming myself, and just happens to be words pop up. And just first time shows are going to be rough. And if you have good stuff, I'd run maybe 20 to 25 items and do maybe 4 shows a week just to start, because I see people in the beginning that'll load 100 items, and then they'll have 2 people in their stream,
Yeah.
and they feel deflated because they're like, I did all this prep, I entered all this stuff, and then I don't have anyone in my show. So I like to start people off small, 20 to 25 items. The main thing in the beginning is learn the app, learn how you look, learn how you move, learn how to maneuver the buttons to start the show, learn how to engage while holding the product, things like that. Get comfortable with yourself, and then it'll just take off. I mean, that's just my opinion. I've had a lot of people that have started, you included. I mean, I keep screenshots as like a it's weird, like a little serial killer. I have little trophies of people that
In your back
DM me.
wall.
Yeah, that'll DM me and be like, hey, I listened to your advice and I did this, and this is where I'm at now. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
it works. You just got to do it.
Mm.
You were one of the first ones I have. In March, I had posted something, and you were just like, this is inspiring. I think I need to finally jump on Whatnot. And
Mhm.
then 3 months later, I have a screenshot that you posted, 90 days on Whatnot. We just did 105K. And I'm like, it took me a year to do that, and you did it in 90
Mm.
days. So I mean, that right there shows that it's possible.
We procrastinated for so long because we saw others, people leaving eBay and doing that, and we're like, well, there's something to it, right? And it's just like we were really pressured because with this medical bill for my wife, we're like, you know what? We got 3 options: move back home to California. We don't want to do that. Go get a part-time job working somewhere that we don't want to do. um, do 100 listings a day on eBay, kill ourselves,
Yeah.
or do Whatnot. And we did it. And the first Whatnot show was exactly like you said. It was like 25 items. It was just like jackets, things that were going to be liquidated anyways. And then we did the numbers, and we're like, we just made $70 in 1 hour
Yeah.
after fees, after cost of goods. And we're like,
Mhm.
okay, let's like, where am I gonna go get $70 an hour working? I'm not an electrician, I'm not a contractor, I'm not a
Yeah.
doctor, lawyer, dentist. So it's like, okay, now how do we build on that? So we
I
did
think
1 show a day,
yeah.
kept growing.
One thing I think people they get lost in is they see people post, big numbers, and I know we post our daily show stream, but that's more just an accountability ending to show people what's doable in a small scale. You see the big number, but you're supposed to be looking at the number on the left when we post our daily, because that lets
Mm,
people know, like, hey, this is the goal, but this is the roadmap to get to the goal. And Renzi really started that with their aggressive $2
mhm,
million last year. And, even for someone like me who I know they can do it, I was just like, man, that is a huge goal. But then when you see the breakdown, you're like, oh, it's simple. But like you just said, $70 in an hour. To most resellers, sadly, especially newer resellers, they're going to look at that and be like, oh, that's nothing. But then
mhm,
they're not remembering what it was like to have a job, or
mhm,
what jobs currently pay $70 an hour. It's
mhm,
not Starbucks. It's not any office job. Like a $70 an hour job, you have some kind of college degree, and you've done a lot of back work to get to $70 an hour. There's no entry
mhm,
level job paying $70 an hour.
mhm.
Whatnot, you can literally turn on the camera, hold up used clothing, and make $70 or more in an hour. I
Yeah.
don't know any other no skill entry level profession where you can do that.
Yeah. Yeah. First show ever, 25 jackets. And so yeah, it's just like shows the power of, trying something new. So I just encourage people that are watching on the other side, don't give up after your first show. Try it and do the math and see if it is valuable. I think a lot of people too also think they can get on Whatnot and not tell anyone about it. And they go, only one person was in my show. But did you tell anybody? Did you
Yeah,
tell anybody? Facebook, what did you do to get people there? Because that's a big difference between eBay and whatnot is you got to get people to know what you're even doing.
Yeah.
How did you go about that when you first started?
If you're going to be selling in a community, you have to be part of the community. And
Mm.
the way to do that is to bring people to the community that you're trying to build. So I would share. I mean, they have great share features. You can share, you can multicast. I didn't even know you can multicast to multiple streams. So you can actually be streaming on Whatnot while it's streaming on YouTube and streaming on your Facebook page all at the same time. Now, everyone knows Facebook has a enormous amount of users,
Yeah.
and most of those people might not be on Whatnot. And
Yep.
so they're watching live because it just happens to come up like, oh, I know that guy. Well, what's he doing? Is he selling stuff? And then in the corner, there's a QR code and a link. And then they
Mhm.
click on it, they sign up. They're enticed to sign up because they get $15 free. And then that's how you slowly build it. Like, you have to promote your business. It's no different than when I owned a pest control company. How am I going to get customers? I had to advertise. I had to put out flyers. I had to pay the newspaper to run ads. I had to make Facebook ads. I had to do something in my community so people knew, hey, I kill bugs. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I sell clothing, and I need people to know I sell clothing. And if I'm not promoting myself, how are they going to know?
Yeah. When did it really start to take off for you? Because I know it's a gradual, grind. When did it go from 1 to 5 people a show to where you're at now, where you can consistently get 50 to 75 people,
So
from the moment you go live?
the great thing about our story with Whatnot is I think it's the most realistic of what people can expect, is because for the first 5 months it was brutal. 10 people or less, 5 months.
Mm,
But
mm,
I knew it was something. I knew it was something. I was like, this is, I'm going to be able to, again, like you said, if you see a shirt on eBay, you just see the shirt and the price. And what's going to make you decide on if you want that item or not and to purchase it is the price good, and what's the seller's, rating? What's their feedback look like? But on Whatnot, it's like, hey, not only is the price good and it's the size I want, but now I know that this person is doing this to support their family. This is how they pay their bills. This is how they feed their children. So it gives them that personal touch again. So I knew that I just had to figure out how to bring people into my life and our family and be like, hey, this is what we do to provide. So 5 months of trying to sell stuff that I've just been used to sourcing, because eBay, I didn't care what the item was. I lived and died by sell-through rate.
yeah.
I didn't care what the item was. If the sell-through rate was 75% or higher, I'm buying it and I'm reselling it, because that's all that mattered to me. But I noticed on Whatnot, people weren't buying a lot of the stuff that I was sourcing. And I was like, well, something isn't right. And so then I just asked. I had like 8 people in the chat one day, the regular people that were usually there. And I was like, what do you guys want? What do you want me to? I'm at the bins. What do you want? And they started giving me brands that I would never sell on eBay. And I'm like, oh, I'm doing this wrong. I have unlimited inventory potential. Let me just ask people what they want. And then they kept buying. So we just switched our model, and of course, we're going to find stuff that we know is like a trending item or popular. But for the most part, I source for the people that come to my show. I
Yeah.
use the Whatnot analytics. I see who the top 10 buyers are each month. And then I look at the items they're buying, and I try to find more items for them, because I know if I can at least keep those 10 people happy, that should cover my day-to-day operation bills. And then everyone else that trickles in and buys stuff is just going to be raising the numbers.
Yeah. Know your buyer, know your customer. It's key. It's like knowing your avatar, the person, the ideal buyer.
Yeah.
Did you do something really unique? And I don't know if it was a huge trend when Whatnot first started, but I think it's just such a good idea, to like either go live from a thrift store, live from a store, or live from the bins. Did you start off doing that? How did you get the idea? Did you see someone else doing it? Where did that come
No,
from?
so we were sourcing from the bins, and then we would go home and we would do our Whatnot shows here in my office. And then one day my wife Stacy, she was just like, we should just go live from the bins and see what they do, see what they say. Because I was always in there filming anyway. So they're used to seeing me with a selfie stick. I got my GoPro on my chest. They're already used to that because of the YouTube channel. So she's like, why don't you just set up and go live and see what happens? And we did, and the first show was weird. There was a lot of excitement. There was a lot of people like, oh my God, are you actually live right now in the store? I'm like, yeah, I have a pile of clothes in my cart. I'm going to try and run this before I get kicked out. And it was nerve wracking. And I was very just, it was a mess. Um, and then of course the manager's like, hey, what's going on? And we had issues in the beginning because they didn't know if like corporate had a problem with it, or because a lot. And then people I posted a video about it, and then of course the comments are always brutal. It's like, oh, you're stealing because you're selling stuff before you pay for it. And I'm like, well, it's only stealing if I walk out of the store with it. If I'm still in the store, I
Yeah.
haven't necessarily stolen it. But
Hmm.
what I did was I asked the manager, I'm like, hey, is this a possibility for us? You know us, we were here, I'd already done two Goodwill grand opening videos for them when they opened up 2 locations, bins.
Hmm.
They were like, hey, can you go to the location on opening day and make a video of us? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I'd already built that relationship, but I hadn't gone into the corporate world. So I got emails, and I know I look like a mess, but I try to do things business minded. So I just started emailing, who do I need to talk to see if I can do this? And I worked my way up the chain until I got to the director of operations for Houston. And luckily they were just like, it doesn't, as long as you're not filming customers, management or employees, we currently do not have a problem. And I was just like, game on.
Yeah.
And from then it was just getting set up to where I'm not in anybody's way, whether it be employees pushing out the bins, and I don't want to be in customers' way. Um, and we just it blew up from there. Of course, other people have popped on. There's people that go live from the bins, and they're doing well. And I've never looked at it as competition. Now, am I scared that one day there's going to be a whole row of people doing what I do next to me? Yeah, but I think that doesn't. Will that change the way that things happen? Yeah, probably. I'm sure Goodwill is going to be like, okay, we can't do this anymore. And then at that
Hmm.
time, we're going to have to make moves. But we also have a backup plan in place for our streaming. That's why we do home shows, so we can see, okay, well, what kind of people can we generate? We've done home shows during the day to see if we can get the same number of people. So we have backup plans in place, but for now, we're just riding this wave because it seems awesome and people like it.
Yeah, 100%. It's solving actually a big problem too, because just being in the community for the last few years, like the biggest thing that comes to mind is people getting access to inventory. So it's like you are providing that, it's a solution. They know you're getting it at the bins,
Yep.
it's a couple dollars a pound, but also at the same time, they don't have to leave their house. They don't have to drive around. They could pop on your stream in the background when they're running something that they're interested in. They got inventory coming right to their home. So yeah, it solves a big problem. It's good that, you're planning because things could change. But I think doing shows from the bins is really something that I'm also like wondering why in the heck isn't Goodwill doing this or other thrift stores? It's just like such an easy way to add on in addition to what you're doing. Um, I'm sure you're in Texas, and I'm sure you get some looks. Has there
Yeah.
anyone that's you could feel their vibe? They're just staring at you, and
Oh
they
yeah,
just
I have
hate
people
what you do.
while I'm live. I have people that will stand literally on the other side of my phone, like that close to me, watching me. I'll have people film me. I'll see people like FaceTime somebody, and be like, look at this. What is this guy doing? But um, it's very weird. I have an ability to just block everything out and just
Mm,
focus on the stream. Because once I hit start live, like my brain switches to, okay, this is your business. This is how you make money. This is how you pay the
yeah,
bills. Time to go to work. It's
yeah,
like a clock in button for me. And so all the like, I try to ignore the people that are aggressively close and filming. But oh yeah, that's I think that's another reason why a lot of people are like, they like the idea, but they also, I don't think they understand like what it's like to be in a store full of people going crazy, digging through stuff. And then you're just filming for everyone to look at and gawk at. And a lot of people don't have the ability to or the comfort to do that, because it is
Right. Confrontation.
yeah,
Yes.
confrontation. People are definitely staring at you. Like a lot
Yeah,
of the
they may
regulars know
Yeah.
what we are and who we do, but the bins, there's new people every day. So every
Yeah.
time you go there, there's people that are like, wait, what is that guy?
Are you a reseller looking to make an extra bit of money? Well, we are hiring to our wholesale team of over 31 people where we buy inventory from nationwide. So if you love to source, but you don't want any of that drama like the listing and the photography, and you want to be able to multiply money fast, well then click the link down below, because we are expanding our team. It is a great option to be able to double your money, especially if you source at flea markets, the Goodwill bins, estate sales, yard sales, rag houses. We are buying thousands of pieces of clothing every week. If this sounds like something you might be interested in, book a call down below. We'll get you onboarded. We'll get you set up with our brand list of over 300 brands, and we'd love to put some money in your pocket. Check it out. It's such a new thing.
Yeah,
It's so new. Like the people that we've been buying from, and we get these people dropping off the pallet yesterday, and he was just like, "What do you do?" Because we live in the middle of nowhere, first of all, so they're just wondering what is going on. I open the shop doors; it's piles of clothes,
yeah,
so they're just like wondering, "Oh, do you do Amazon?" And now I just tell them live selling, and they're just like, they all go to their app, they download whatnot, and they're like,
that's
"Great, I need
awesome.
some new work boots or something." I'm like,
Yeah,
"Well, you're gonna save a ton of money, but you're
yeah, I've been doing the same
also, it's
forever.
very addicting." I think this was a comment either on one of your videos or maybe Wayne's videos. I don't remember, but a lady said, "My first show, she went on Whatnot, her first day, she spent $2,000 in 1 hour."
Yeah,
And she's like, "I did save money, but also I didn't expect to spend that much, because you don't like see what you spent, from a
no,
consumer point of view. It doesn't
yeah.
tell you, oh, you spent 2,000 so far,
You
so it
just
can be
finish your
dangerous."
show and you're like, where's my
Uh,
money?
yeah. But I think, it's gonna be crazy, because I don't know, the market's so big, right? And the market's supposed to keep growing for secondhand clothing. But what do you think, like from a point of view from an eBay reseller, why would a consumer go to eBay and buy a Patagonia jacket for 50 when they can get it for $5 to $10 on Whatnot? What do you think is
Uh,
gonna happen there?
so the only reason that I think that people still go, other than it being like the oldest and largest platform, so then you've got the people that's the tried and true, it's reliable. I go to eBay because it's an established reselling platform, and I know it's reliable, and I know because I've purchased multiple things on there that they have the buyer's back.
Yeah.
Whereas Whatnot does have a buyer's back, but they also support the seller, which is something a lot of platforms you seem to. There's a lot of videos and push over the years of eBay not supporting sellers, especially smaller sellers, or refunding the person even though they never sent this in on Whatnot. There's more of a community aspect where it's like, hey, if we approved you to sell, we're going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you are a good seller until you prove you're not. And when you prove you're not, you're gone. And because I've watched people get kicked off. I've seen people that they're like, oh man, this person's doing this in the stream. I'm like, I guarantee you by the end of the week they won't be on here, and they're gone.
Mm.
So they're very on top of, we want good people selling product on here. And I think as long as they can keep that intact, I don't know. Obviously, it's cutting a huge hole into eBay, or eBay wouldn't be test marketing live selling, which I've watched both, and they're so bad.
There's just
It's
no people on there, or it's
it
like
was
they don't
not
have very many shows I've seen.
okay. Wayne was telling me this, but one of the ways that their thing does is it shows how many people are viewing, but every time someone leaves and comes back in, that counts as a view.
Oh,
So
okay.
on Whatnot, if you have 100 people and somebody leaves, it says 99. Uh, it doesn't stay at 100 and then go to 101 when they come back in.
Mm.
So on
Hmm.
eBay, it'll say there's 1,000 people, but it could just be 10 people coming in and out, in and out, in and out to make
Yeah.
the number go higher. and then it's laggy. The products being sold, they were selling. The one I just watched was a mother and daughter high end purses. They're starting them at $600, $700. Like, yeah, that's not what Whatnot's doing. That's not. It's not going to work. And then eBay. eBay's main thing is listing and selling items.
Right.
Their thing is not live selling. Whatnot's thing is live selling. Now, Whatnot has a marketplace, and my fear is that they're going to expand on the marketplace, which it's okay to have a marketplace, but Whatnot's main focus should be live selling.
Right.
That's what
Yeah.
you've established yourself as. Don't try to add more to your tool bag, because what you are known for and what's bringing in the people and the money is the live selling. So, I just honestly, in 10 years, and we can timestamp this, I think eBay is going to have to make some drastic changes.
The companies that fail to adapt to change become victims of change instead of making the change, and
Yep.
it just reminds me of all the things that have happened in industries like um, Uber. Uber is the largest taxi business in the world, and they don't own any cars.
Yeah.
Airbnb is the largest hotel business in the world, and they don't own any hotels.
Mm.
And all of those other businesses that used to be traditional mainstays are now gone. So I'm wondering if we're seeing something similar to where we could be seeing something where you're seeing more people get not only getting better deals, but just that's what people like. They want to be able to feel heard in a show when you're talking to them, and it's just different, really different. Not saying that eBay or Amazon or any of that's going away. I just think that more and more live stuff, I think, is just getting started.
For sure.
um People
And the
say
other
it's
thing
like
at the end of the day
saturated.
is whether people will admit it out loud or not, humans want human interaction.
Yeah.
Even coming from someone like me, who's most of my life, I've been social distancing my entire life, way before COVID. Like, I've always
Yeah.
kind of just been like an antisocial person. It's just because I'm awkward, not just because I just get social anxiety around a bunch of people.
Hmm.
But I'll get into Whatnot streams, and I'm just having a blast. It's just like, oh man,
Yeah.
it's human interaction, and it's dinner and a show. Honestly,
Yes.
why is the Renaissance? What's the medieval times? Why is that? Why did that become such a popular thing? Because people get dinner and a show. When you
Yeah.
come to Whatnot, you're getting a product and a show, and you're having a human interaction, and you're being recognized for purchasing stuff. If
Right.
somebody's hosting a good show and taking care of thanking people for buying.
Mhm. When I explain it to people that have no idea, I just say it's like QVC meets TikTok. It's like you're watching a product, but also it's very dopamine heavy with all the
Yep,
things popping up and the sudden death. And I think Whatnot really tapped into the gamification, like making it into a game.
yep,
And that's why video games are addictive, because the points, the levels, the rewards
for sure.
um, can be almost a bad thing, but that's the buyer's responsibility to be in control of their spending habits. But they really made it so you can't get off of it. Like, I just looked up a stat. It says the average buyer on Whatnot is on the platform for 80 minutes a day.
Yeah,
What are they
I mean
doing?
that's
It's that's
that's
crazy.
more. I mean, honestly, I'm on Whatnot more than I'm on Instagram, more than I'm on
Mhm.
any, because I mean, I can see people, I can be entertained, and I can buy stuff.
Right.
I always joke that I can see in 5 years Whatnot having to have like a shopping addiction anonymous, like toll free
Yeah.
number. I'm like, when every time you enter a stream, you have to click something that if you or someone has a shopping addiction, please contact blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's very dopamine heavy, and especially if
Mhm.
you're in a stream and there's a lot of people and there's giveaways and excitement, and
Mhm.
you can get swept up, and it's like, hey, weren't we supposed to leave the house like 20 minutes ago? Oh, I know, but they're about to give away $1,000.
Mhm. And that's why the sudden death thing, I think that in itself, the sudden death is something where you never know.
Yeah.
But more often than not, I get people that say, "Oh, I'm just bidding against myself." The item
Mhm.
would sell for 7, but they keep hitting the button and then it goes to 27, and they're like, "Oh, I just bid against
Yeah.
myself." But
And
it's like,
as a buyer, you have to, I mean, as a seller, you have to know that's a tricky one to navigate because we do a lot of sudden death stuff. So I always try to just let people know, like, hey, we're doing sudden death because I've kind of created a thing where it also involves more of the community. Whereas I run regular 15, 10-second auctions. But if we get raided with 25 or more people, that activates sudden death for the next hour, power hour. So that encourages people to raid my stream, which brings me more viewers. So then, like, you rated me the other day, you activated power hour. So because you rated me, I did sudden death for the next hour. But I tell people during sudden death, like, hey, everything's sudden death, but everything's also preloaded. So go in and put your max pre-bid that you're willing to spend on an item. And then that way you don't have to get into the, oh God.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just paid 100 and I only wanted to pay 20. Just type in, go to the item, put in your max bid. And then when I do sudden death, it doesn't matter. Because if it goes over your max bid, you're out anyway.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that feature too. And this is another one I'm still trying to figure out, but I know what it's related to is sometimes you can run an item for $1, you know, and a minute later you run it again for $1. Like it doesn't sell for $1. A
Yep.
couple minutes later it sells for 7. So it's just really strange. I know you're doing it from the bin, so when things don't sell, you just throw them back. You don't like rerun them or anything,
So
right?
I have a people can't see what's going on the ground, but we actually have bins.
Okay.
Every day we get there, I ask the employees if they have any bins in the back, they can bring them out because they usually don't put the bins. They usually dump the stuff into the blue bins instead of putting a bin full of stuff in a bin because then it just makes a mess on the store. So they just stack the bins in the back. So I'm like, hey, if you have like 4 bins, and I put them out, and so I have a bin below my camera that if I run an item and I think this is a good item, maybe just was the wrong time to run it, I'll put it back. I'll put it in that bin. And if I ran an item that is just something that, okay, well, usually people buy this brand. It's not something I would personally pick, but today they didn't buy it. I'll throw that back. But like yesterday was a prime example. I ran some Lululemon, which who's not buying Lululemon, especially at the bins. I think I start Lululemon at like $6, which is a great deal. Now they were size 4, which is a smaller size. Our stream usually doesn't sell size 4 very well, but I ran them $6, 10 seconds. Nobody was interested, but I know that in 20 minutes I can rerun them and somebody's going to get them for $6. So
Yeah.
I just put them down. Later in the show, we got rated, had more people. I ran them, but this time I ran them as sudden death instead of just a regular. They sold for 14.
Yeah.
Somebody could have
Yeah.
got them earlier in the show for $6.
Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. We just ran a Lululemon show and we were getting more for the money when we
Mhm.
did sudden death versus not sudden death.
Yeah.
It was like a 10-second replenishing. A Lululemon size 6 running top would sell at $7, not sudden death. But at that
Yeah.
same top ran at sudden death 10 seconds would sell for 14. So
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we're doing all sudden death.
You're creating
And
urgency.
the sudden death show outperforms the replenishing show and it
Yes.
goes faster. So instead of a 1.5 hour show, I'm done in an hour. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I saved time. I made more money. Good for me. But
And
it's
then
not always like that. But I think if you're running something like Lululemon, Viore, something really good, it's, you're definitely like taking the leap of faith. But
yeah.
more often than not, I think sudden death has really got it hooked from the end consumer where, they'll all, because think about it, like they're all jumping in at that last 1 second. Like
Correct.
who's going to analyze the price increase in a 1 to 2 second span? It's like they're just hitting the button hoping they win.
Yeah. And then you've got
So,
people that just go in, they go through your store, everything that's their size, they just put a max bid on and then they just sit back.
yeah,
Which is
that's
what I do. So I like I said, I'm on the platform quite a bit. I'll pop into people's shows, I'll go through their store, find the things that I want, put the max that I'm willing to pay for it, and then I'll pump to another show and I'll do the same thing. So then I'm in somebody's stream getting notifications that I won stuff from another stream that I've already been in. So I'm
yeah.
buying from like 5 different people, but I'm in a different stream. And that's something you can't, I'm supporting 5 different people because I just go through pop into shows, find stuff I want, put the bid, and then bounce. So it's great for sourcing too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
No, I love that. That's the smart way to shop
yeah,
responsibility right there.
yeah, and I don't have
Um,
any attachment to any of it. This is what I'm willing
mhm,
to pay, and
mhm,
I'm out.
mhm. Yeah.
And if I win it,
So
great.
yeah, 100%. And what would you say when your audience is coming into your show? Is it majority of resellers or consumers? Do you ask them like,
Yes.
"Hey, are you
Oh, for
buying
sure.
this to resell?" What do you think is this percentage of people that are, in your
Um,
streams that are resellers?
I'd probably say for what we do, we're looking at probably like 60-40, 60%
Mhm,
resellers.
mhm,
But I do make it a point to ask almost every stream. It's in our bio that we cater to resellers to let them kind of know like, hey, we are aware of sell through rate. We know the market. We sell stuff below market because we're getting it so cheap. We're trying to pass on the savings. Because I get trust me, I get a lot of flack from social media about why would you sell this on this platform for that when you could have made 4 times as much on this platform? And I'm like, because who knows how long it's going to take me to make 4 times that. If somebody comes into my stream and buys $100 item and they get it for $30, they're going to come back and spend more money, and then I'm going to get more than that initial $100 that might have taken me 3 months to sell. So that $30 there, and let's say it takes me nine. I wish I could do a thing. I could, but it'd be a crazy long video because who knows how long it would sell. Take two of the exact same item, sell
mm,
one on Whatnot, and list the other one on eBay for the highest value price that you could get, and see how long that one takes, and just follow the money. So if it took
yeah.
60 days for the item to sell at full value on eBay, how much did that customer spend in the 60 days coming back to Whatnot, and see how much the money? I guarantee you the money would be higher on Whatnot,
Yeah, that
and just repetitive.
yeah, let's speak on that more because I get a ton of comments saying, "Why would you sell it for that price? You could have listed on eBay for this. How are you making any money selling stuff for so cheap?" I don't think people realize that, we're it's a volume
It's a dollar
game.
store business
It's
model.
a volume game. Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
like I'm not making, it's like margins between 20 and 50% if you're lucky. I mean, sometimes a lot more, but let's
Yeah.
just say on average, like if you look at Renzi's model, it's about 20%, 25% net margin
Correct.
with higher starts. But you know how many Fortune 500 businesses would love to have a 20, 25%
Yeah.
margin,
People don't
selling
realize the
millions?
margins of like multi-billion-dollar businesses. They're happy if they get a 10% return.
Hmm.
And so
Yeah.
people, Renzi and them 20, 21%. And people are like, oh, well, you really didn't make 2,000 gross. You only made 20%. It's like, that's still 400 something $1,000 in a year working out of your basement.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't, it's the dollar store method, but, uh, our last year on eBay, full time on eBay, we sold 3,684 things.
Hmm.
That brought us 139. It's like right under $139,000.
Hmm.
I just finished our numbers for this year on Whatnot.
Hmm.
26,894 items. We averaged 48% return on our investment.
Yeah.
That's more
Yeah.
than we got on eBay. We were getting
Mhm.
like 17 to 19%. We got 48% return. It's a
Yeah.
it's a it's a volume game. Whatnot is
Yeah.
a volume game.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't get volume. You're not looking for volume if you can't get volume. I mean, what you've done in the last 90 days, I've watched you go from slowly starting selling just stuff to now you have what, 30, 40 people sending you 200 items. Now you're also getting pallets of stuff. Like all
Mhm.
you have to do is figure out how to get the product. It is available and it's
Mhm.
readily available.
Yeah. Yeah, we're trying new things and definitely inspired by other people, kind of paving the way.
Yep.
We're kind of finding our lane and trying to stick to it, whether it's new or pre-owned stuff. We love catering to resellers too.
Yep.
And we could talk about that more in a minute. But yeah, going over numbers, just for example, our last year on eBay, about 50%, profit margin after fees and cost of goods. We did like 170,000 in 2023. So we're taking about half of that. And then on Whatnot, in just 6 months, we did like 160,000.
Yeah.
And we're at that 6 month mark now. But that's in 6 months, 50% profit margin. So we're almost doubling our net,
Yeah.
putting in the same amount of work. I'm still working 8 hours a day. just different. So yeah, like the potential's there, to scale it and grow it. But yeah, I'm just like realizing, eBay was hard work too. Like
Yeah.
the pictures, the photos, the returns, the item specifics and everything. So this is definitely much more fun. Like I have so much fun doing the streams, talking
Yeah.
with people. eBay listing, I don't ever see anyone having eBay listing parties. It's very like can be very lonely because you're doing it by yourself and
Yeah,
you know
that's the grueling side of reselling that no one wants to talk about. That's why there's not a
yeah,
lot of videos about it, because it's the
yeah,
worst part of the job.
mhm. And you can hire, a lister and stuff like that, but and it's not for everybody. I'm just going over the things that I've learned and watched other people do is like it's just so strange. It's like we're living in the twilight zone and this is the new way or an episode of Black Mirror or something, it's like so different than what I've been used to, but it's so much more enjoyable. I feel like eBay, there's a time frame where you'll burn out and you're just like, this is not fun. Like I don't care how much money I'm making. I'm just not having fun. And then
Yeah,
you gotta realize I'm gonna die soon, someday. I
I
wanna
say that
do
every
it having
day.
fun. Like, I wanna have fun.
That's like that's my daily thing I'm not a money motivated person. I know what amount of money I need to survive and
Mhm,
sustain, to have the life that I have and take care of family. But at the end of the day, it's like I have fun. Every time I
mhm,
stream, I'm having a blast. And
mhm.
when I'm done, when Stacy and I at dinner, we'll be laughing about things that happened in the stream. And it's just like,
Yeah.
I enjoy. There's never been a, oh God, I gotta get on here and sell clothes.
Mhm.
I mean, I haven't had a. We're going. This is year 3 now, and I have not had a wall that I've hit where I did on eBay where I got burnt out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I was there.
Because you can adjust. You're like, oh, and also, we don't stream every day. I think you could get burnt out if you're doing 7-day streams, like
Mhm.
especially
Oh,
because
yeah.
we're just a 2-person team, so we handle all the sourcing, the shipping, the running, everything. We haven't grown out to where we're hiring people to take those tasks. Um, but no, if we just broke it down like, hey, 3 days for us, 4 days for streaming. And
Mhm.
once baseball starts or gymnastics or whatever else we have going on, then we adjust our schedule and base it off of that. But we don't put the money on the front end. We take the main reason we do this is because we like having fun and we like doing our time.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And it's cool to see another, family man like yourself doing it, and you do it for the family. Um And it's totally possible for other people to do it too, because people are wondering, like, how do you do it? It's just like you time block your time.
Yeah,
It's just like a regular job. You schedule your time in, and once you're done, you're done. I think it is really important to take time off because, like, if you're doing it, you and your wife doing it, you know that there's like a long term vision associated with it. You're not just gonna do it, real good for a year and be burned out. Like you want to set this up. Probably your plans are eventually to hire people out.
yep,
But there's a season of sacrifice with all business building. We're
for
in
sure.
that right now too, where it's like it's long days shipping out 200 items. It's very tiring, but we know spring or summer, we're gonna hire some rancher kid to come here to ship out the items.
Yep.
Like we'll slowly build it out, but yeah, it's really cool to see because I didn't go to school for any of this. Like I just went to YouTube University, learned some basic things. It's just possible for other people watching on the other side. So that's great. So, like the opportunity for people that still resell on eBay, the big going back to the biggest thing is like people can't find inventory. Do you think people are just not looking hard enough? Like they're not,
Yeah,
like, they could go to
for sure.
Whatnot and get stuff. I mean, we sell Lululemon usually between like 10 and
Yeah,
$12, 10,
the
15
margins are
bucks.
there. People can literally source on here
Hmm.
for their reselling business. Again, it's
Yeah.
just another form of arbitrage to add to your. I mean, retail arbitrage has been something forever. Most people that are successful on Amazon are getting their stuff from Walmart, Target, and
Yep.
they're getting it in quantity and then they're sending it to Amazon. This is no different. You can get on Whatnot, buy stuff, and then sell it on another platform.
Yeah.
There's people that buy off of eBay and sell on eBay. There's people that buy off eBay and flip it on Amazon. So it doesn't have to be your only tool
Hmm.
I know, one of the first videos when I started making whatnot content, which that's another thing that I think is an untapped market, especially for YouTube, is a lot of people don't make whatnot content because a lot of the reselling community is still very, "Oh, man," because it's the new baby, it's the infant,
Yeah.
nobody, you're not selling on eBay. I don't want to watch. This isn't relatable, but it's a niche that is going to get bigger. And if I encourage anybody that makes YouTube videos that's on whatnot, you need to start making more whatnot content because
Mm.
it is growing rapidly and people are going to YouTube to learn how to be better at it.
Mhm.
Some of my original 4-tip, 5-tip videos for whatnot are all of a sudden exploding with views because people are trying to figure out how to do the platform.
Yeah.
No, I think whatnot's great for sourcing. It's great for entertainment. It's all around. And again, I'm not a shill. I'm not being paid by whatnot. It's just I really believe in the platform. I literally shut down my eBay store and went all in on this platform because I do see live selling as being the future.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Lives are changed, and I love seeing it. I mean, you've seen it with other people too, as well.
Yeah,
I think we all, if you're, it all goes back to like, are you going to be that victim of change of that business that doesn't adapt to the world changing? And, like whatever happened to Radio Shack, Blockbuster, all these other businesses that were just like, no, we're doing this. And now
yep.
they're dust, they're gone.
Yeah, you
So,
have to. You have to adjust and adapt. And like I said, there could come a day when Goodwill's like, "Hey, you can't do this in store anymore." And we are always have that in the back of our mind. We
yeah.
always have it in the back of our head, and we have a game plan set up, and we're ready to go. And will be a drop back? Probably,
Mhm.
because part of the reason that we're able to do what we do is I'm running while my wife's digging.
Yeah.
But if we're not able to have that, then the option is get everything, bring it home, and then sell. But then all we can sell is what we get,
Yeah.
which is why we've started reaching out, like talking
Mhm.
with you behind the scenes and getting people to send us stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I agree, and that's why I share it with everybody
yeah,
because I'm not looking to make billions of dollars reselling on whatnot, I have a
yeah,
set certain amount that I wanna make, and I wanna
yep,
build other businesses, guys, like, I'm gonna share everything. There
yeah,
is so much clothing out there that I can't sell it all. So why
yep,
not help other people build the systems, build the team, go get your own sourcing team. I'll tell you where to look.
yeah,
Just start cold calling people, direct messaging them. Go into your every whatnot show. I just say, hey, if you want to get paid to source, go to getpaidtosource.com, and people just sign up. Maybe we're a good fit, maybe we're not. Doesn't
yeah,
matter to me, but I just know that there's people at the bins that would love to get paid to source for you.
yep.
And not everyone sells on eBay. A lot of these people go to Buffalo Exchange or Plato's Closet, and they just sell it for quick money. So,
When
yeah,
I was a
anybody, yeah.
I was
Oh,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
when I was a supervisor at the pest control company before I started my own, I had 46 technicians that I was responsible for, and every one of them above my office, above my desk, is the first thing they see when they come to my office. There was just a sign that said, "Closed mouths don't get fed." If you
Hmm.
have a problem, if there's anything, you have to speak up, and that's the same way with, like you giving out people like, "Hey, I'm going to reach out. Maybe he'll tell me, maybe he won't." But the
Yeah.
worst he can say is no. But
Well,
it's the same thing
yeah,
with the bins.
yeah.
I had that. We had our talk, and I was just like, you know what? He's right. I don't. I think I live here. I live here in Texas. There's people already at the bins. What if I just create a flyer with like the top 40 brands that I'm looking for that I'll pay them, and we
Hmm.
just hand it to a couple people, and
Hmm.
that's what we did. And now we have people bringing us stuff. Now,
Yeah.
did I add another task to my wife because while I'm streaming, she now has to inspect items that people are bringing to her while she's also trying to dig and then pay them out. Yeah, but now we're getting more stuff brought to us. And again, it's very small. We've only started it maybe like a week now, but we do have people that are like, "Oh, wait, you'll pay me? I'm already
Yeah.
here." I'm like, "Yeah, get what you want. And then, well, find us stuff. We'll
Yeah.
pay you."
Yeah.
It
There's
worked.
the common person that comes into the onboarding call. They'll say, "Oh, I buy hard goods at the bins only, but I'm already here. I could look for some clothes that you might want to buy." And they're buying it for $2 to $5. We're paying them 7 to 10. Sometimes more, depends on what it is. It's just quick money.
Yeah.
Quicker money for them. Maybe it covers their cost of goods for their business. But
That's one
yeah,
of the
it.
reasons we reached out to some of the vintage kids because if
Mhm.
you've ever been to the bins, they have vintage kids there, And most of the time they're just hanging out. I'm like, hey, while you guys are just sitting here, go find these brands and I'll pay cash, and then it'll pay for your 5 shirts that you find that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, 100%. I think that that's the next step for people that are doing whatnot and want to see how it can scale. I think you should do everything yourself to start off, whether it's eBay,
Yep.
Poshmark, or whatnot. But then the scalability of taking the next step, and you look at other people, that are big on the platform, like Renzi. Let's just take him for example.
Yep.
He had a great podcast with Tech and Sports 6 months ago, but he just says like they don't buy product, and they're just like, wow, what? Like they don't go find their product, it comes to them.
Yep.
And that's like the next step of that evolution of scaling is just pay people to do it. They're your
Yeah.
team members. We're a team business. We could profit share, we could do consignment, whatever. But as long as the pay people, you pay people for their time, that's like that next step, because you're the face of the franchise. You make the
Yeah.
money going live. So like that next step is like hiring people to, send you product, or whether you buy pallets or whatever. I feel that's the next step to head in that direction.
For sure.
Because if I was sourcing all the product we sell now, I wouldn't be able to do that many shows because I'd be sourcing.
Yeah. That's the main thing. Is that's the only, if you're talking about downsides of whatnot, it's you need product.
Hmm.
You got to get product, and
Hmm.
the only way to get it, if you're sourcing it yourself, the only thing you could do is, okay, well, I'm gonna source 3 days a week, and then I'm gonna do three really long shows with everything I have, or you're gonna space it out, or you're gonna find people to bring you inventory. And again, uh, that that's how anything works. Even when we were selling on eBay and we had routes before they had bins in Houston, we'd go to Goodwill's, that we would build relationships with the managers, and they'd be like, oh, you guys are back. I'm like, yeah, what do you guys buy? We buy shoes and we buy jeans. You guys bring out shoes and jeans, we'll come every whatever day you're going to bring out shoes and jeans, we'll come at that day. Oh, well, Tuesdays and Wednesdays is usually when we stock up on shoes. All right. And we started, boom, note, every Wednesday, go. We didn't ask them for discounts. We didn't ask them for, price changes. We just said, what day do you bring out the most of what we're looking for? And we will come buy it. And
Hmm.
that's the same thing we're doing now. We're just asking people like, hey, you want to make some money?
Yeah, being vocal, you gotta be vocal, and I think a lot of times it goes back to just common sales, like, people just don't like being told no, and it's like they get
Yeah.
emotional, and it's like, "Oh, what if they say no?" You won't ask, you won't receive. That's not how it works,
Yeah.
and you just gotta get used to no, and that's why I tell people, jump on a Zoom call. We're probably not gonna be the right fit, but if we are, you can make some money, and we'll pay you to do it, and we wanna make sure you're happy doing it. So, but it's not a fit for a lot of people. You're going to get told no a lot. And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
only want the right people that align with our values and the mission that what we're looking to do. So get used to no. But if no one knows what you're looking for, you're going to have a hard time.
And that one,
Um,
that one yes could change your life.
yeah.
That's what people are concentrating, like, oh, I got told no 100 times. Yeah, but that 101st yes changed your
Hmm.
entire life.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
just
It's a team.
chase the yes. I mean,
Yeah.
it just
It's a
chase the
team
yes.
thing
It-
when you start to see it that way. So the craziest thing too on whatnot, and this is just looking at other bigger sellers, but had it happen in our shows where things will sell for almost more than retail price. Sometimes more than what you could sell it on
yeah.
eBay, and that blew my mind once we started getting either consigners sending us really good stuff, or we personally bought stuff like Laurel Piana blazer for $40. It sells for
Mhm.
200 in the show, and you're
Yeah.
just like, man, I don't think I would have probably gotten that on eBay. Or if I did, it probably took a year to sell. Has
Yeah.
there been anything in your shows that you can think of where you knew you got more on the whatnot stream than you could have on eBay?
Oh yeah, we sell stuff almost every time that I'm just like, I don't want to make like a facial expression or anything, but like I certain things I look up. I just want
Hmm.
to have like a Google image. I want to have a guesstimate value of the item, even though I kind of almost have set prices for everything that I start at, just because that's what people are known, come to our show for. But I still want to have a gauge so I can tell people, like, as the auction's going, I'm like, guys, just so you know, eBay last sold comps were this, so people, encourages, especially if you're sudden deathing, you might get some extra. But we occasionally sell things for way more than what it should be sold for. And the reason that it is you're tapping into somebody's maybe, oh my God, I had that when I was a kid. And it
Mhm.
doesn't matter that it only sells for 50. I could go on eBay right now and buy it for $50. Like, you have it now. I'm here. I like you. I want to support you. And I'm now engaged. My endorphins are moving. I'm tapped into, when I was a kid, I had this. I'll pay anything for this. There is no value. I just have to have it. Or unfortunately, or fortunately, if you're the seller, you have two people in the stream that might not be the best of friends, and one of
Mm.
them bids, and then the other person's like, oh yeah, you're not winning this. I don't, not on my watch. And they'll purposely pay up just so the other person can't bid, so the other person can't get it. So you might sell a Lululemon item for $5, but then you sell a plush for 47 that sells for $20 regularly. So it makes up the difference on that Lulu. So now the
Yeah.
average price, which is what I try to look at. Again, I don't think a lot of
Mhm.
people are taking advantage of the analytics that Whatnot gives. They're really good. It'll show you what your average sale price is per stream, and you can kind of gauge, okay, well, what can we maybe stop selling to make sure that that average price goes up. But yeah, no, stuff sells. If there's an emotional attachment, if there's a bid war, there's all kinds of different variables. If you're doing sudden death and somebody just, there's all kinds
Yeah.
of things that could drive the price up. That's the one thing I love, is there is no sell through rate, because the
Mhm.
market value is who's in my stream and how much do they want that item. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen it. It's funny because yeah, a common thing is like a Nike hoodie. I think we've sold just recently that I can remember. I'm like, yeah, I'm happy to get 7, 8, 9, $10. But it was selling for 22. And I'm like, that's pretty rare for just like a size small men's, is because
Yeah.
two people I kept seeing just two names going back
Yep.
and forth, whatever they were willing to pay, whether they hated each other or not, but
It
in just
taps
two
into the
names were in the bid
competitiveness.
war. Yeah.
It's that competitive, it's a competitive nature. It's in the moment. And you might regret it, which again, I love on the back end. Whatnot has a very like seller friendly, no buyer's remorse. It's in their
Yeah.
terms when you sign up for the app that says, hey, we're all adults and decisions are final unless there's a flaw or item not as described, but we're all adults here.
Yeah.
So
A
there's no
co
such thing as buyer's remorse.
Yeah, a common one, and we do full refunds for anything, if it
Yeah,
gets delivered and it's not, something that, we forgot to point out, we missed. We're
for
human, we
sure.
miss stuff. We wanna have full transparency that you will refund you, no problem. You keep the item, move on. But, there's a thing where sometimes people, I think, you've gotten the comments and messages where, my phone was grabbed by my pet raccoon and they started
Yeah,
bidding it up. I was eating cereal. The craziest things, and it happens on eBay too, but on
yeah,
Whatnot, it's like, always, my kid grabbed my phone and bid it up to 50. Can you cancel it? And it's like,
yeah.
it's tough because, maybe they're not telling the truth. So, um, how do you feel about that? Do you put in your shows like no cancellations, or how do you go about
Yeah,
handling
so
that?
my show notes just say we are live from the bins. We'll point out anything that we can see as best as we can. All bids are final. And I talk in my show. I'm like, hey, if you get the item and there's a giant, something that I didn't point out, obviously message me, because at the end of the day, this is a business and customer service is part of any business, no matter what
Yeah.
platform you send on. But when somebody will message like after a stream, I'll go to do shipping and it's got a red triangle and it
Mm,
says like, hey, my toddler got my phone and swiped. And I'm just like, okay, well, the good thing about it from, I guess, my brain is, if I notice that, let's say I started it, it's a shirt. So I started it at $5 and it sells for 25. It took a lot of swipes to get to 25. Accidental swipe would be, hey, it's a $7 shirt. No, two swipes.
yeah.
But something happened to go from 5 to 25. So the cool thing that I like about Whatnot is you'll see their message, but then as a seller, I got two options: accept, reject. That's
Yeah.
it. I don't even have to respond. I just click a button. So it
Hmm.
detaches me from the sob story. Deny, and then that automatically blocks them from leaving negative feedback, because they
Okay.
already knew when they signed up to the platform that all bids are final and that we're adults here. So there's no buyer's remorse. There's no, I accidentally gave it to my pet raccoon. It's
Hmm.
deny, send them their item, and they'll probably never come back to your show. But honestly, do you really want customers like that on a regular basis? No. So you just move on. That's how I do it personally. But again, if there's a flaw, if there's something, if it arrives different than how you saw it on the stream, reach out. I say that 100 times in my stream. But for stuff like that, it's just a out of sight, out of mind, reject, move on.
Yeah. Yeah, because I just move from going from eBay to whatnot. It's like I still want to implement the same policy because we sell majority of pre-owned
Yeah.
clothing, and we're not going to catch every little hole within a pocket. We're not checking every pocket, for just little things. So yeah, we want to keep it open and full transparency. But for things like the cancellation, I do think that it does happen a little bit more frequently on whatnot,
Yeah.
than
And again,
eBay.
that just comes down to how you conduct your business. Again, that's what I tell everybody. It's a personal thing. If you want to be like, oh, okay, and then accept it and then take the L and then not send them the item, that's fine. You can always resell it, especially if you
Yeah.
already purchased it. You can always make your money back again. Um, it's a play it by ear. Like if it's a $2-3 item, I have no problem canceling. I'll just resell it.
Yep.
But it's if it's a bigger dollar item, I'm just like, no, this thing started at $10 and it ended at 87. There's no way there was accidental. You were actually probably what happened is you got into a bidding war and now you're having buyer's remorse.
Yep.
Reject, move on. And that's one thing that people coming to this platform have to. There's a lot of mental that you're going to have to go through, because if you've been selling on eBay, if you've been selling on Amazon or these other platforms, we are like a beaten animal that's been returned to the animal shelter. Like eBay returns has traumatized us. Amazon allows people to rent your stuff for 30 days and then
Yep.
return it. Part of the reason I got off Amazon is because I sold electronics on Amazon, and people would buy my electronics, they would use them, and then on the 29th day, they put in a return request. They were borrowing my electronics. I'm not in the habit of letting people borrow stuff and then getting hit with the main one that always comes to my mind is I sold like a $900 camera. On the 29th day, they put in a return request. They probably filmed like a wedding or something with it.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden I'm $900 short for the month because
Mhm.
somebody rented my stuff.
Mhm.
So, you have to get over that mindset if when you come over to this platform, because your initial reaction when you see somebody say, hey, you think like, oh, I have to accept this. You
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, I just did a short in one of the comments I saw this morning. It goes, "Oh, I hope you don't have any returns, with us shipping out, the quantity that we did." But that's the thing is like the returns are so rare because usually when we refund people, we just have them keep the item.
Yeah.
But there's no one like opening a return request,
Yeah.
because they want to get their money back. It's really rare. I think I've only had 1 to 2 items ever actually returned to me, where people were like, "Hey, this didn't fit," or "We didn't like it," and I just go, "Okay, I'll pay for return shipping." Like the item was worth returning, like a
Yeah.
Viore sweater or something. Um, and out of 20,000 items sold, 2, maybe 3 items were ever returned. And I know on eBay that would not be, you
No,
get a
not
lot
yeah.
of returns.
A
Like my
lot of
PO box has now maybe 1 item, maybe from a wholesale consignment,
yeah.
versus they would call me, you need to come pick up your PO box because all the returns were just so full.
Which
They
encourages you to
overloaded.
sell more on the platform. Like,
Yeah.
man, I'm loving this. I'm selling stuff. People are actually keeping it.
Yeah.
I don't have to marginalize this amount of time for going through BS return. Like, oh, it doesn't fit, blah, blah, blah.
Hmm.
None of that exists.
No.
It's, you bought it, you deal with
Yeah.
it.
eBay has what, those 4 different didn't like it, doesn't fit, ordered by mistake,
Yeah.
and you're like,
You're like, wait,
"What the
how is that
what?"
even hey
And
guys,
yeah.
sorry, we got to eat tuna this month because Bobby's shirt didn't fit.
Yeah, 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 great, thanks.
Yeah,
No, yeah, it's so different, and I'm glad we got to hop on here.
for sure. I would
We
say
could talk.
one thing about I've had more people buy stuff from us and then message like, "Hey, I don't know if you're aware, but the jeans you sold us had $35 in the pocket." Or we
Mm,
had one guy, he's like, "Hey, I bought an Ariat t-shirt or an Ariat pearl snap from you, and there was a diamond ring in the pocket. Did you know that?" I'm
mm,
like, "No, I'm at the bins. I'm not checking pockets. you got a bonus. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Post about it on Instagram and tag Flip the World so more people
Yeah.
will come to my stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I tell people to let me know when it sells, and I'm just, now that I'm being more vocal about it, people are buying stuff and they're flipping it and they're making great profit. So
Yeah, and
they're like kind of scared because they don't want to like make you mad, but that doesn't make me mad because
that
I'm
brings
not,
more people to
you
your
know.
streams because
Yes.
like, hey, this guy's giving out deals and I can make
Yeah.
money off of it.
Yeah, yeah, we sold, most notably a couple weeks ago, we sold Armani made in Italy blazer with a Christian Dior scarf for $5. So,
Awesome.
people were the guy was like kind of like, he was like, "Well, I'll send you like the Laurel Piana blazer back that we bought from you." And we're just like, "No, we want you." And this person that bought it, he's top 3 buyer since we've been on Whatnot. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm happy it goes to you. You've spent thousands of dollars with us, but that's just, sometimes you never know. I don't know what was happening in the stream at that time. Probably I just did a terrible job of describing it, but
Could have been the wrong
um
time, or I mean, there's
yeah.
anything that could, any factor that could. I literally just had a lady yesterday come in my stream. She's like, "Hey, I bought something from you a couple weeks ago. I just sold it for $600. I'm going to send you a
Mhm.
case of Celsius." And I was like, "You don't have to do that. Just post and tag Flip the World so I can share that people
Yeah.
are making money off of the stuff we're selling." Because
Yeah.
I was happy with. She bought it from us for 200. I paid $4 for it, and people are like, "Well, you could have got 6." I'm like, "But I paid 4 and I turned it into 200 like in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Today.
I'm
Yeah.
out. I didn't have to clean it, photograph it, anything. I'm
Mhm.
out. I'm good."
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I like to see is like short-term investment versus long-term investment. There's just two
Yep.
ways to grow the business. No, I love it. And I'm sure we could talk all day. I
Oh
definitely
yeah.
learned a lot just talking with you. But, for people that maybe have some preconceived ideas about live selling. And I totally get it when you say, when you're making content about eBay and then you're starting to talk about Whatnot, people hate you, they want you to die, and they just want you to be done. Maybe what are some like common misconceptions that people have when it comes to live selling? Maybe they just don't know the full story of what it can be, or what
I
is
think
it? I don't
the
know.
main one that you still hear to this day, even though it's 5 years, is you have to have a following on another platform. You have to be big
Mm,
somewhere else to make it there. And it's like, no, you don't. Be entertaining, have product. You don't even have to be entertaining if you have good product at a good price. Uh,
yeah.
but you're never going to know if you don't start. The other thing is people think, oh, well, if I get on Whatnot, I have to do it just full time. And it's like, no, I actually talk about how people can use Whatnot to liquidate from their other platforms, especially now that Whatnot has flash sales. They've added flash sales, which I just watched Renzi uh, was the first one I watched do a flash sale yesterday where they loaded, let's say, I don't know they had a bunch of different items, but just to give you an example, let's say they had 100 Carhartt jackets in quantity. They're like, all right, guys, for the next 10 seconds, all Carhartt jackets are 50% off. Boom.
Mm,
And they just hit the button. It automatically changes the price on those 100 Carhartt jackets, but you have 10 seconds to purchase it for 50% off. They sold 100 jackets in 10 seconds.
wow. I saw that. I saw him post about that. I was wondering what it was.
It's insanity that
Huh.
that is an option. So now my brain, even though I go from the bins, I'm like, I need multiple quantity replenishables that I can do flash sales on. So
Yeah. So
that's the
you preload it and you put the quantity up
you
and it's in your
preload it at your
marketplace.
regular price. So
Mhm.
let's say $100
Mhm.
is your price. That's already making you margin. Let's say you bought it at 60. So you're already making money if somebody just happens to buy one, just clicks on your buy it now and buys one. But then you're like, hey, for the next 10 seconds, boom, you get the endorphins, you get the adrenaline, you got people like, oh, I only got 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It's going to be a game changer, but you could do flash sales with your items on eBay that are maybe slow or stale or maybe don't have eyes on them. They're great products. You don't know why no one's buying them. Take those off eBay, move them to Whatnot, flash sale, 10 seconds. Boom.
Flash sale is gonna be the death of people's bank accounts.
Yeah. I'm telling you, there's definitely going to be a Shoppers Anonymous
Flash
that's
sale, flash your money's gone.
Yeah. I don't have a
Um,
house, but I got 100 bars of soap.
in Carhartt jackets. Yeah, I mean, I totally get it because when you go to a lot of websites that get you to buy stuff, they always have that banner, especially on Black Friday. It's like
Yeah.
this day only you're gonna get it, and then you go the next day and you're like, wait, the timer's still up. It just
Yeah,
reset.
yeah, yeah. Or you have the ones that as soon as you add something to your cart, a countdown starts. You have 10 minutes to finish this transaction,
Hmm.
or you don't get this
Hmm.
price. You're like, oh God, oh, oh. So
It,
imagine that in 10 seconds.
yeah, it works. It works. So, predictions as far as what do you see happening? You talked a little bit about brands coming onto whatnot.
Yep.
Maybe like what are some forecasts, predictions for
Um,
just reselling market in general? Um,
I think brands are 100% going to figure out how they can tap into this market. I think we've
mhm,
already seen that in the secondhand market with brands. Lululemon now purchases back Lululemon. They give you
yep.
store credit. Levi's gives you store credit if you bring in Levi's, old Levi's. So there's already stores doing the secondhand market, but now they're going to really figure out how they can tap into this. Uh, I think more people in the reseller scape are going to come over and sign up. Maybe they sell, maybe they don't. But I do think there's going to be a very big increase in users trying to get approved because as things grow, restrictions get tighter. So they're going to start limiting the amount of people that are approved to sell. So I think more people are going to sign up to sell, whether or not they actually do or not, just to get that approval. And I think that as whatnot continues to get more money thrown at it through investors and investments, the tech's going to get better. I mean, I, the only downside that I could see at this point would be if they uh, lengthen the leash on keeping getting bad sellers off the platform.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the only
because
thing. Like,
it's the Wild West.
yeah,
Fakes,
that's the
not even
only
sending
complaint I hear
orders
people
or
talking about is there's people selling fakes, and
yeah,
again, not to advocate snitching or anything like that. I know people are, but if you have multiple people in a stream that are saying, "Hey, this person is selling fakes," well, okay, well, if 10 of you are saying fakes, why hasn't one of you reported this person? It's
right.
not like they're going to automatically be banned. If anything, Whatnot will just investigate. Hey, are they selling fakes? That's what people think, like, oh, well, if I report this person, it's an automatic ban. No, they're going to do an investigation because they at the end of the day are this business and they got to make sure they're not, because they get in trouble too if they're
Yeah.
have someone
Yep.
selling it. So
Yeah.
it's a way to police the community that you're making money on and you want to feel safe when you shop. I think
Mhm.
Whatnot's going to start probably having an authentication program,
Yep.
which is smart.
Mhm.
There's certain things that I won't sell if I find it at the bins. If I'm not 100% sure, I'm not gonna run it.
Mm-mm.
But do people? Probably. I mean,
Mhm.
obviously we know they do.
Yeah.
Um,
eBay.
but the same thing on eBay. People try to pass fakes all the time. That's why they came out with the authentication. But
Mhm.
some things have actually passed on. There's been videos where people get things authenticated that aren't authentic.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you really can't trust a fully like a third party too, because you never
No, I mean,
know. Because what passes on Goat and StockX won't pass on the Check app, and you're like,
yeah,
"Well, what is
and
going on?"
there's it comes. It's the same thing as if you go to Walmart and there's two employees at the register. One looks like they want to be there and they're happy, and the other one's just like, ugh. If you're trying to get stuff not checked out, you might go to the person that looks like they hate their job because maybe they only scan every other item because they don't
Yeah.
care. It's whatever. I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
It's no
Yep.
different. It's the same thing with the reselling platforms.
Yeah.
You have to put the trust in that, hey, I'm going to buy from this person. It's going to be legit. And if it's not, you have to do your due diligence as the buyer to be like, hey, they sold me a fake. Because the only way that there's going to be authentications that come up on is if people report the people selling it. Honestly,
Yeah, and they don't care about their customers, so they just wanna make quick money and leave and just
yeah.
go scam basically just a scam, another way to scam people.
Yeah, if
Then you
eBay's
order it
got
off.
scams,
Yeah,
Amazon has scams.
yeah,
Obviously, Whatnot's going to have scams. It's just part of the business of the secondhand market. What we have to do as sellers is make sure it doesn't turn into a live selling Timu.
mm,
Honestly,
yeah, and I was just about to say, you could buy off, Alibaba and have someone put a little sticker on there that says
Yep.
Nike and go, yeah, these are Nike wallets. And it
Yeah.
looks all jacked
I
up,
mean,
but
you could buy StockX tags on Alibaba.
that's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah. You know, it's just too much to keep the story straight at that point when you're trying to
Yeah.
do that stuff.
But then
So
it
it's like,
again, the benefit of Whatnot is you can learn who you're buying from because you see
mhm,
them. I'm like,
mhm,
okay, is this person? Let me see. How many solds do they have? Oh, well, they've sold 100,000 things.
yeah,
Oh, they have 20,000 5-star reviews. Because that's the thing. If you buy an inauthentic thing from somebody, immediately 1 star. This bag was fake.
yep,
Eventually, if they get too many, people don't know this, but Whatnot has seller metrics.
mhm,
If you don't keep good seller metrics, you're gone. 3 day
mhm,
suspension, 7 day suspension, no longer allowed to sell on the platform.
mhm.
Um,
Ouch. Out
yeah,
of business. Well, at least they have some protocol. I'm sure it was a lot worse when they first got going, but
that was
yeah,
the real
I mean,
Wild
I
West.
see it. I see it too. I'll hop into some streams, like 9, 10 o'clock around here. And I'm like, man, they're just giving this stuff away. But then you also have to think, I don't even know if it's real.
Yeah,
And I've gone into streams where people are like, this is fake. This is fake. And I'm
don't
like,
buy from this
wow, it's
person. Yeah,
crazy that they're still, and they have 200 people in the stream and people are buying it. It's
yeah,
crazy. But yeah, I don't know. If you have the long term vision to build up a business that's in it for the long run, you would never even think twice about going down that road. So,
yeah,
but it is crazy just with people will do anything to make money.
for sure.
Well, that's great. I love it. You did a podcast, I think, a week ago with Wayne. I'm gonna link it down below for people to check out. See it as like almost like an extended version or a part two of this because you guys went over a lot more details and great questions that were asked in that. I think it's either on your channel or Wayne's channel. I'll put it down below. You guys should check that out. It's a deep dive. I think you guys went almost 2 hours talking and
Yeah.
just really a lot of good Q&A there. I learned a lot as well. So check that out. Go follow Chris. What's before you go, what's your plan with your YouTube channel for this year?
I've told myself that I'm going to do 2 videos a month. That's something I can actually stick to and make happen.
Hmm.
It's going to be obviously Whatnot content related.
Yeah.
I am trying to podcast on Whatnot. I want to put as much
Hmm.
of my time into the platform that I think is where the money is. I don't think that people are using Whatnot to its full capacity. I think if I went live on YouTube, I'd have maybe 25 people. I went live on Whatnot Tuesday with Wayne. It was kind of a beta test. We had 100 people
Yeah,
consistently.
I
So I
saw.
have another one. I have another one next week. We're going to have another Whatnot seller on and not selling anything, but just using the live interaction as is the same way as you do a YouTube live, and then you just multicast it too. So you're getting both platforms.
Yeah.
And the people that are on Whatnot are obviously want to learn about Whatnot. So I'm not on YouTube talking about Whatnot to people that don't want to hear about Whatnot. So
Yep.
I'm talking about the item, or I'm talking about what people want to hear on the platform that they're on to hear about.
Right. No, and I see it with Daily Refinement. He'll go live and you did it last week and just other random people where it's just like a chat and
Yep.
there's like sometimes 500 people in there. You'd almost never get that on YouTube. So
Yeah.
it just makes
And you
sense.
get 100% if somebody decides, hey, this is great information. Here's $10 tip. You get all $10. Where if somebody super chats you on YouTube, you lose 30% of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
No, 100%. Well, I love it. We'll have to have you on later in the year, just see where you're at. Appreciate you. Go follow Chris. I got all his stuff linked in the description down below. Reach out if you have questions and you want to get going on Whatnot, as far as best practices, where to start, what to do. Um, Leave us with some words of encouragement, Chris. What do you think? What's your thoughts? If someone's wanting to get going, what's the
I'll just
words
do
that
it.
you tell them to
Just
push them?
I always go back to Steve Harvey just said when they asked him about getting started in comedy, and he said, "I just jumped off the cliff. I didn't have a parachute. I just jumped, and I decided that I had to figure out how I was going to land before I hit the ground, and that's kind of how I've done everything in life is just jump in and figure it out. And with Whatnot, again, it's literally just staring at yourself, So just
Yeah.
jump in, jump on,
Yeah.
press live, look at yourself, and 1% increment every day, you're going to get better at it.
Yeah, I resonating with that, but we are 100% of the result of the choices that we make in life, and I don't want to live with regret. I
Nope.
don't want to be stuck at a job. I don't want to be stuck with one thing bringing in the income. I always want to like adapt to change, and I want to make the best choices that I can while taking leaps of faith.
And
So I
having
just
fun.
want to. Yeah, you never want to be on your deathbed going like, "I wish I had done that," and it's
Mhm.
like you got one life, you might as well try it. It's not going to be for everyone, but at least you tried. Don't
Yep.
be stuck.
Yeah.
Get on.
Hey, how do you know
Yeah,
you don't like Brussels sprouts if you don't try Brussels sprouts?
yeah. Oh yeah, you got kids, and our kids. That's their famous excuse. I don't want that. Did you try it? No. Well, and now it's their best food, like
Yeah.
sushi.
Did you cover it with cheese? Oh, I'll try it.
Yeah, ranch. Well, I
Oh,
appreciate you, brother. Thank you for coming on. Guys, feedback, comments, leave them down below. Want to see you succeed in 2025. Appreciate you all. Have a blessed day. Bye bye.